New York City has one of the highest homeless populations in the nation, with about 1 in every 120 New Yorkers being homeless. This has been a problem for decades, with society constantly turning its back on homeless people. Anti-homeless architecture, also known as hostile architecture, is a glaring example of this. Regular objects on the street are being altered to repel the homeless population, and in such a subtle way you may not even realize it. This is Sugati Park in the Financial District, just a couple minutes away from my dorm. Let's take a closer look at the benches. See how there are dividers for each seat? At first it may not seem like that big of a deal, but it wasn't always this way. These are what most of the benches in Central Park look like. They don't have dividers and are just a smooth surface. The design is based on the original benches that were used when the park was created back in 1858. Homeless people used these benches as a place to sleep, but once the Parks Department, MTA, and property owners caught on to this, they designed benches with these dividing bars to make it uncomfortable for people to lay across them. And this can be seen in many other locations being implemented on every street around us. These actions are extremely deliberate and impractical for everyday living. This video, uploaded by Louis Rossman, shows new sidewalk grate coverings on Marcy Avenue in Brooklyn. The G train runs under this street, so these grates are always ventilating hot air. And when the weather gets cold, homeless people sleep on top of these heated grates so they don't freeze to death. However, like the benches, these grate coverings are designed to hurt people if they try to lay on them. So with these new sidewalk grates, homeless people will not get the warmth they need to survive in the winter. Instead of dedicating resources towards giving homeless people better places to live, the city puts them towards devices that will displace more homeless people. It doesn't solve anything. This is a subway station I travel through a lot. I almost never see any homeless people inside of it. And I don't just blame that on me running from one train to the next. There is a heavy police enforcement in this station.
Attention everyone, if you have questions or need to report an issue to the police, the NYPD is located at the station.
More law enforcement presence means less homeless people. In 2019, Mayor Bill de Blasio introduced the Subway Diversion Program, aimed as a pilot initiative to support people experiencing unsheltered homelessness on the subway by offering alternative pathways off the streets into transitional and permanent housing. However, this process in fact does not offer safe, affordable, or permanent housing options for homeless people, only referring them to existing shelters. Plus, it further perpetuates police mistreatment towards the homeless. There are countless videos online of law enforcement arresting or summonsing homeless people instead of helping them. Let's go back to the Union Square subway station. What's interesting about this station is that there is only one bench on each platform. Notice how much space there is without a bench on this platform and the one across from it. In a way, this is also anti-homeless architecture, purposely not putting benches in stations for passengers due to the potential that homeless people could use them too. If there is already a lack of accessible benches for homeless people to potentially use, why does there need to be a police patrolling this station? Here's another subway station I travel to frequently. The new 72nd Street station at 2nd Avenue opened very recently in 2017. This station also has both a constant police presence and anti-homeless architecture. The same question as to why the MTA is doubling down efforts to keep homeless people out of this station when only one of these methods would suffice could be asked. Overall, there is a big issue of the city forcing homeless people out of specific places rather than prioritizing creating spaces for them to go. Although there are already many homeless shelters available, there is a reason that many people opt to live on their own instead. The city should work to modify these homeless shelters to make them more safe, accommodating, and welcoming, rather than making streets more hostile through the implementation of anti-homeless architecture.